Hey, 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 welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. Tom Gaddis flying solo today, but I have a special guest hanging out in the green room, getting good and liquored up before he comes out so we can talk a lot. You guys are going to love it, and excited you're here. We got a great show. We're going to be talking about pay-per-click. We're going to be talking about a software that we've been emailing people about. We're also going to talk a little bit about how we've been using that to keep a client. We actually used it in the agency to keep a pay-per-click client that we were having some issues with. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to share some Shark Shoutouts. We're going to take your questions. It's just going to be an all-around good time. So why don't you grab a cool drink? I have my iced tea right here, and I'm going to cue up the intro, and I'll see you back here in one momento.
It's now time, the moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, they've finally returned. From the sun-soaked Sin City and the sandy shores of Maui, Hawaii, now back for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam Session. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks and Remote Millionaires, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, here, we'll go ahead and turn that off. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. What's up, Dorn? Welcome, Elaine. I see Patty. Bill. Welcome, welcome. Awesome. Excited you guys are all here. Today, we're going to be talking about live prospecting power, right? So we're going to give you a little behind the scenes look of our most powerful PPC client landing tool. We're going to talk about that and how you can use it to get clients, all that good stuff. It's been awesome to see some of the results people already get in the group. So we love seeing that kind of stuff. So why don't we do that? Why don't we start off? Hey, Michael, welcome. Why don't we start off with some Shark Shoutouts? That way we can get our guest out here and we can take your questions and do all that great stuff. So let me fire up the shout out screen here. Here we go. All right. Okay, these are our Shark Shoutouts for last week, and we've got a great collection of them. First up is Yella. So Yella closed 2 Facebook ad campaigns for 2 car dealers, 600 euros and 1,000 euros. I think that's the euro sign. And then he got 1,000 for a startup cost for a system he's building for a real estate company. So excellent work, Yella. And Yella, if you guys were here last week, he just hired his first appointment setter. So excellent job. Excellent job. JT. Oh, and let me hide this here. We don't need to see that. There we go. It's a little better there. JT, he got a home loan company for changes on their website, $350. Website update, and he's using Traffic Fuel for a massage therapist. $750 website, $750 for the Traffic Fuel. He's got a new video, website update, and Google Business Profile for a client, $250. $1,250 and $250 respectively for the other wins. And then he got a new PPC client in the pipeline, and he's just awaiting payment. So excellent job, JT. Excellent job. And if you guys are not subscribed to our Remote Millionaires podcast, you should do that. You can go to remotemillionaires.com/podcast. And I actually dropped JT's podcast episode yesterday, and it's a really great episode. We talk about, how JT progressed. I think when he came into Remote Millionaires, he had like 1 client. Now he's doing a little over $15,000 a month in recurring revenue. And then he's had a bunch of one-off stuff. So really just awesome to see the way he's grown and what he's been doing. And we talk about that. And so a really great episode. You guys should check that out. Shout out to Liz McKenna, $250 upsell to set up a website text opt-in form for a client she's doing texting campaigns for. Excellent, excellent work there. Let's see. Our next one goes to Jill Ashton. She had a 599-pound aesthetics website for a neighbor. So don't forget about those people in your general vicinity, right? You never know when you're striking up a conversation who might need some help. Mr. Clint Whitney sold a $957 press release package. Excellent work. Steve Hanna landed a new website build for a new optometrist, $1,500. So congratulations, Steve. And I think that was if I remember correctly, I think that's Steve's first client. So super, super exciting for that. So big shout out to all those Remote Millionaires members. Way to go. Way to go. And we've also got Jason Card, an $1,800 retainer with Ecom Brand managing their text messaging. Adam landed a $1,000 to $1,500 website design build for a client. Final cost to be agreed on upon client's approval of their preferred mockup. So depending on which mockup they pick. And then James finished a website for a detailer using website client system. He's waiting to meet for final approval and changes. Price to be announced. So congratulations to all of those. Let me get the applause on here. Yes, congratulations to all of the people that had wins last week. For those of you that are keeping tabs at home, that's a combined total of $12,887 for the week of September 7th through the 23rd. And then our grand total since the start of 2022 is $1,138,816. So, man, really awesome to see us cross that $1 million mark and just keep climbing. So way to go out there, everybody. Excellent, excellent work. Excellent work. Oh, let me find it. Okay, there we go. Okay, those are our Shark Shoutouts. And then I also, I do want to give one final shout out to my oldest daughter, Paige. Paige just got her learner's permit, and we've been learning how to drive. And the other day, she drove all the way from our house to her high school all by herself. So, well, I was in the car, but she drove the entire way in traffic, and neither one of us cried. So it was a really, really great job. So shout out to you, Paige. Good work, honey. Okay. All right. I also want to do one more thing here, and then we're going to bring out our special guest. And that is, I want to announce our member of the week. So every week we like to reward somebody for just being a good steward of our Facebook group, right? Somebody in our community who's answering questions, having success, closing deals. We send them, you can see it over my shoulder here, a box of Offline Sharks treasure chest. No one knows what's inside except the lucky recipients. So our member of the week this week is, let me share the screen here. Check it out. Yella. Yella is our member of the week. Congratulations, Yella. So Yella got it for taking action and sharing his wins to help motivate others that it can be done. And I've actually got to talk to Yella in person a couple times. He's not in the U.S. He's based overseas, and he's just been crushing it. Like, he's really been working hard, picking up the phone, making calls, doing prospecting, all that stuff. So well-deserved, Yella, well-deserved. Congratulations on being our member of the week. The team will reach out to you, and we'll get that treasure chest sent your way. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, are you guys ready to have our guests come out here and take some questions and talk about what's going on? So I don't know if you've been watching our emails over the past few days. So we had a lot of people that were a little disappointed that they weren't able to get in on the special deal we've been running on PPC Ad Lab. So we reopened that just for a few days. And today, I believe, we added another bonus because this was just fortuitous. I love using that word, fortuitous timing. We had a client at the agency that we were doing PPC for, and they were just, it wasn't being very effective, right? We weren't getting the results that they wanted. And so we were faced with this situation where, like, well, how can we, show them why this isn't working, right? Because a lot of times people think like, oh, okay, like, if it's not working, it must be us, right? It must be what we're doing. And that may or may not be the case. Sometimes maybe their budget's not, like, there's a lot of different factors, right? So we actually fired up PPC Ad Lab, and we did some competitor research based on where they're running the ads and all that stuff. And we found some really interesting things. One, there were lots of competitors out there with better offers. They had better sales pages, better call to actions. They had better looking stuff. Like, we were just getting beat, right? What we were doing wasn't up to par with what the other advertisers were doing. So Nick was actually able to get on with this client using PPC Ad Lab and show them, like, look, this is what's going on in your space. This is why we're not getting the results we need. And here's our recommendations to help us get the results. And so we were able to keep that client. and start to make changes so that we can get better results for them, all because of the tool, PPC Ad Lab. And so Nick actually recorded that call. And we thought, man, this would be a great thing to throw in as a bonus. So if you've already picked up PPC Ad Lab, you will get this. But if you jump in now before we close, and I think the offer closes tomorrow night. It's a really great deal. It's a $97 a month offer. The software is amazing. You can use it to get clients. Well, our guests will talk more about that. But now we have this case study that you'll get as well, showing how we used it to keep a client, how to retain that client, and how to figure out why what we were doing wasn't working and what we could do to change it and make it better. So I'm really excited about that bonus. You guys should be excited about it too. And let's give a big UK welcome to our friend from across the pond, Mr. Rob Warner.
Mr. Gaddis, how are we doing, sir?
Hold on. Here, I can do the applause for you. There you go.
I'll take that.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us today. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. I have nothing better to do on a Friday night other than drink a glass of wine and relax and enjoy myself, my wife, and family. So I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I forget you're way ahead of us, right? What time is it there? It's what time?
8 o'clock.
Oh,
there are very few people I would ever say yes to a Friday evening meeting for, but you guys, it's worth it. I'm here. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate that. I see Jacqueline Heath. Jacqueline Heath is also in the UK. She says, hope things are going well. She's over there. She's been crushing it lately too. So awesome to see that. Well, Rob, maybe, I don't really have anything specific prepared for us to talk about. But I know we had Joe on last week. Maybe you can talk a little bit more, just kind of like give people a little more info about your background specifically. I know Joe kind of talked about, invisible PPC and some of the stuff you have going there, but I know you, like Joe, you kind of started that in the beginning. It was just you, correct?
It was. Can I come to that in a minute, Tom? Because I just want to comment on what you said about your client a minute ago.
Oh, yeah,
because
sure.
That's one of the cool things. So, and here's the weird thing. I built PPC Ad Lab last year. I needed a list of advertisers, plumbers specifically in the US, and I couldn't find a tool to buy it. So it was like, I can't find this. I've got to do this. So, being stubborn, being entrepreneurial, I can't buy it, so I'll build it. And just because nobody else has solved this in the industry for the last 10 years, I'm smart enough to do it. Of course I'm right. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Turns out it's difficult, but we did it. So in my head, I was making a scalpel. My scalpel, all it needed to do was build me a list. And it wasn't until I got it, and I started looking, I go, I can see everybody's ad copy. I can see what time of day we see in their ads. I can see whether a client will become, like you said, competitive in a market or not. And then we put it in front of a few users, and they're going, well, you could also use it for reporting. You could use it for sales. You could use it for onboarding. And I'm like, oh, crap. I thought I built the scalpel. It turns out I built a Swiss Army knife. And I never meant to. And so that realization was kind of good and bad. And what I mean by that. So for me, to circle back to something you said a minute ago, I built Invisible PPC as a white label Google Ads agency for two reasons, really. Number one is I happened to, out of necessity for my own business, to save my own house, literally, I had to get really good at Google Ads really quickly and get some clients for my own business, and I did. Not an agency, it was a software company at the time, and running Google Ads for myself literally saved my house. And I turned that into a white label agency by accident. Now, if you're running a white label agency, I was running that agency for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, I hated selling. White label agency where somebody else does the thing for you is kind of a cool way to hang out. Number two, I was really good at the nerd stuff. So I had all the attributes that I needed to be successful at that time, which do nerd all day, let's do selling, everybody wins, my business grows. That was kind of my model for a long time. And that worked really, really well for me. In the latter years, Joe joined. We'd already grown to like a 25-person agency before Joe joined. Joe joined sort of 5 years ago, and it continued until we sold it last year. But fundamentally, what you just said about saving a client makes me smile, because it speaks to my inner nerd, the nerd in me that goes, you don't see what your competitors are doing. How can you possibly hope to compete? And yet the reality is that most PPC ad managers, and if I'm about to speak disrespectfully of anybody on the call, I mean no ill will. It's just what I've seen along lots of experience, is that Google Ads managers, the introverts, we tend to hang out in our dashboard and we have our anchors on, and that's the lane that we stay in, the dashboard of data, spreadsheets and things. In reality, our ads and our performance doesn't win or die on our dashboard. It lives or dies on a search engine results page in amongst the competition, the enemy who are out there to beat you. So what you said, Tom, is absolutely correct. If you look at installation at your dashboard, you might go, well, my ad copy looks good. Yeah, it does by itself. But let's put it in context of what the rest of the world is doing. And if the rest of the world is saying something different or better, you still lose. And so I am always thrilled to bits when I hear of people in the Google Ads space using it for the greater good, because it just makes me smile. My inner nerd loves that.
Yeah, well, I think what's so really great about the tool is you're able to hyper focus in on just an area, right? So like if I'm running ads in, Summerlin, Nevada, like I can see what the other people in Summerlin and Nevada are doing. One of the frustrations I have,
zip code if you want.
Yeah, I mean that's so great. Somebody was asking, does it show you ad budgets as well?
No, it doesn't actually. So let's talk about ad budgets for a moment, because ad budgets are an interesting thing. If you've ever used any of the spy tools, I'm not going to name them. You know who they are. They put estimated ad spends out there. If anybody on this call has ever used one of those estimates and compared it to real life, please feel free to leave in a comment in the chat as to how accurate that estimate was. In fact, I wrote an article on our blog about exactly this subject, because it's kind of like assumption multiplied by assumed keywords, my assumed spend, by assumed location targeting. You take 5 assumptions and you multiply them together and you end up with total garbage. So we don't show cost yet. However, one of the things that we're currently building into the tool, in fact, I was speaking to one of our developers about this very subject today, was not bringing estimated spends in, but bringing actual, real life, known, provable cost per clicks into the database, so that you'll actually be able to go and see real live costs. Now, it's not going to be out until October, but in October, if you want to see a real life spend across the country for actual searches, you'll be able to see it. So,
oh wow,
no, we don't, but yes, we kind of come in.
Yeah,
but real data, not junk calculations, real data.
Yeah, that's great. And where are you pulling that just from the database of all the PPC advertisers and things that you guys have built into the tool?
Yeah. So no, yes and no. So we have another software which is a big data AI tool for Google advertisers, which has data from many thousands of Google Ads accounts in it, all over the world, which we can pull some big data analysis on. So we're kind of joining our two weapons together, so that PPC Ad Lab users can start to see real cost information, none of this estimated nonsense.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and just to remind people again, so we're talking about PPC Ad Lab, which is a software tool that Rob and Joe put together. We use it in the agency. I talked about earlier on the live how we recently used it to actually keep a client, because we were able to look at what the other people are doing and show the client and do all those things. We recorded that call with the client, and we're going to include it as a bonus to anybody who gets PPC Ad Lab. Joe and Rob were nice enough to put together an amazing offer that you can't you can't find anywhere else. I mean, it really is a smoking deal. If you wanted all the features that you get in this deal, I think you'd have to, you'd have to get their $397 a month plan, and this thing is only $97. And there's a ton of bonuses with it, right? Including this call. So I'll put a link up here in a little bit. I don't want you guys to get distracted, but it really is an amazing tool. And we've been using it for all kinds of things. Like we've been using it to prospect. We've been using it to figure out what people in the space, when we get a new client, we can use it to look at what the other advertisers are doing. So we're doing all that stuff. And as you'll see in this case study, we used it to actually keep a client because we were able to show them why they weren't winning with what they were doing, right? So sometimes clients are skeptical. If you just come to a client and say, hey, the reason we're not winning is because of this, this, and this, like they almost think maybe you're making it up to like cover your own rear end. But when you can actually show them the real data and the real things other people are doing, they go, oh, well, of course we're not winning. Like they actually want you to fix it and get behind it, So
completely. Yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? As a Google Ads manager, it's really difficult. And I've always got frustrated with it because you can't see these things normally. Google makes it difficult for you to see this data. We found a way of being able to pull that data together. And by the way, thank you to Alan and JT and Michael and Dawn, hey, good to see you, Dawn, and Jacqueline. I'm glad you're loving the tool. We've made it so it gives you, we call it X-ray vision into the Google Ads space, and that's its intention there. So we've seen, Tom, to your point, people using it. So if you think about, I call it the Ad Labs life cycle, and this is the kind of a nice way to look at it. So start of the life cycle, build a list. So build a list of advertisers because they're the highest value prospects in the market. Really easy. You can do that job and you can execute that task in under 2 minutes. We did it live on the webinar. Under 2 minutes, press a couple of buttons, you're going. At whatever level of granularity you've got, you can build a list of advertisers in a couple of minutes. When you've got that, you've now got personalized email outreach to them. So, and you can actually join those two things together. So pressing the one button will do the second. So build a list, automated outreach. So you now got list building and prospecting. We then have people using it in the sales presentation. Did you realize that these 4 people are kicking your ass? And they don't know that. They just don't know. When you go, hey, would you like me to show you the top 30 ads in your market, who's running them and what the key features of the ads are? That's kind of a mind-blown moment. I love that.
Yeah, well, it's what you're talking about is actually part of the question that we got here, where somebody asked about how do we connect the data to optimize the Google Ads campaigns, and that's exactly what you're talking about. You're able to pull up the top 25, 30 ads in the niche, in the exact area that they're going to be advertising, and see what all the other people are doing. That's how, and I don't know who this is, but that's how we kept this client, right? The way we were able to do it is we pulled this information up and then showed it to them. And we were like, look, this is the offer you're running in your ads. Here's the offers everybody else is running. What do you see? And it's like, oh, well, their offers are way better. Here's their landing page. Here's your landing page. And you can, you don't have to do that with the client. You can do that behind the scenes with your team, you or your team as well. When you go to set up a new campaign for a client, the first thing you do is go and look, what are the top 25 ads in there? What offers are people running? What does their ad copy look like, right?
Exactly.
So what are they bidding on? I mean, it tells you all of that stuff inside.
Yeah,
right?
And let me speak to that point exactly, Tom, because the question's really good. So if you're thinking about it from a PPC management perspective, think about it this way. Thing number one is if you know before you launch a campaign who you're competing against. That's the first thing. Am I competing against national brands? Am I competing against locals? Am I competing against aggregators? What type of competitor is most active in my space? Once I know who is most active, I can look at what messages are being presented most often. And it's my job as an advertiser, as a marketer, to figure out, well, how do I present my client in a way that their advertising message stands out? It doesn't have to be better. It has to be different. It has to stand out. If you're up against nationals, play to local strengths. If you're up against aggregators, play to being, we're not an aggregator or a real business. Play to the things that you've got. So before you even launch a campaign, do that to know what the real competition is. Because here's the thing: if you ask a business owner who they compete against, I guarantee it is not who they actually compete against. They never think it's the same people. So that's at the outset. Because AdLab gives you notifications when things change, it will email you. It will tell you when a new advertiser comes in or when an advertising message changes. So we know to make sure that we're always staying on point. So thing number one is our ad copy, and we can stay on top of that with alerts, notifications to make sure we're always one step ahead. I always tell people when you're analyzing people's ads, do a filter, because you've got some really cool filters there. Filter on ads that have got price points in them. Search for dollar sign, a pound sign, euro sign. Search for discount, specials, free. Search for all those words in ad copy and you'll see all the messages in the market. Then flip into the ad schedule tab. There's a schedule tab in AdLab, which we don't really talk about on the webinar. It's back office stuff. Look at your key competitors and see what times of day and days of week their ads are running. Look for the gaps. Look for the times of day when they're not running. If your major competitors turn their ads off at 5 o'clock in an evening when they turn the phones off in the office, get someone answering evening phones. You've got free clicks. And we've mathematically proven that when there are fewer advertisers in the game, cost per click goes down. Who'd have thought it? So thing number 2, look for gaps in the schedule. Thing number 3 to do from an ad manager's perspective is look at the keywords. On the keywords chart that we've got on one of the screens on the advertiser report will show you how many unique advertisers are bidding on each keyword. And the competition depth varies dramatically. We've seen often 50 in the same market. Let's say, I don't know, plumber near me might have 50 competitors on it. Emergency plumber might have 25. The one with 25, much cheaper. If you can make that convert, But Google will never tell you that. Other tools don't tell you that. The only place you can find that out is inside AdLab. So you've got an insider's advantage. And think about it this way. Think about the risk. If you have, and I'll give you my favorite example. We did a search for digital marketing agency in Las Vegas. We saw 134 unique advertisers on that search term, right? In that one city, in that one week. Las Vegas, Tom, the place.
Yep.
Yeah. So think about this. You're the PPC manager. You're trying to compete for that search term. The only thing you can do is change your ad copy, your bids, your budget, your time of day. What the hell do you do when there are 133 other people pulling the same 3 levers that you can pull? It's like how the risk that you've got in that keyword is huge. So look for those keywords with fewer competitors and spend your time and effort there. Massively increase your results and massively decrease your risk in running that campaign. So from a PPC manager perspective, and then at the end of the month, as Tom did yesterday, and Nick did yesterday, show how the market has moved to your client. Get your client to log into PPC AdLab onto your white label version of it, if you want to use that version. And you'll see exactly how the market's moved over the course of a month. You go, hey, last month, these guys are the number one. This month, it's us. Look what we've changed. Look how we've moved it. So from a PPC manager's perspective, it's a kind of cool tool.
Yeah, well, I'm glad, when you said the thing about the schedule and the time of days, that's such an awesome feature because a lot of times people will ask us, like maybe you're in a smaller market or you're just starting to bring in pay-per-click clients. And so maybe you have somebody that just doesn't have a huge amount of money to spend on their ad budget, right? And like, how do you help those people, especially if they're in a competitive niche? And what Rob just shared with you guys, I hope you took notes of it, that strategy of figuring out when everyone else is advertising and then advertising on the times that they're not is one of the things that you can do to make that a smaller ad budget go further and deliver some results for those clients that maybe don't have the war chest to compete with some of the bigger people.
Thing as well, even if you've got let's say you've got a big advertiser who's competing against you and you know that they're running 24/7, but they're probably not taking calls on an evening. What if you had an ad schedule that at 6 o'clock in the evening changed your ads to say, we are open now. We are answering the phone. You've immediately got a competitive advantage in your market that nobody else even thought of, just because you knew that other people who was left are turning their phones off. It's so easy to win.
Yeah, well, and you know, one of the things that has really, and you actually said this to me. It's so funny because one of the reasons, you know, like we've been working on the paid traffic thing behind the scenes, like we've been doing it in the agency for a long time. We've been working on it behind the scenes with offline sharks and remote millionaires running paid traffic. And I actually did a podcast interview with you that we dropped last week. And I can't remember if it was during the interview or if it was after, but you actually said to me that there is a new golden age of pay-per-click coming. And that was actually one of the things that I told Nick. I was like, man, we should do a product around what we're doing with pay-per-click, because, you know, that I thought that observation was really key. And the reason you mentioned that, and I know a lot of people ask about fulfillment and things like, and we got a ton of bonus stuff if you get in on this deal that will help you with fulfillment. I mean, Joe and Rob give you like a Rolodex of people, trusted people you can use. I mean, they ran the largest white label PPC ad agency. Like, they've got some info and connections there. So we have a bunch of bonuses that we put together that you get when you sign up that will address the fulfillment thing for you and help you with that. Obviously, we have a lot of training on it in Offline Sharks too. But the way things are going down the road, like, fulfillment is really going to be the least of your worries with PPC, right?
Oh, completely. Yeah. So, and this is no secret. Anybody who hangs out in the Google space at all, or even Facebook still, for example, we know that the era of the closed box system is coming. It's increasingly moving to a situation where you put your dollars in, you tell Google the kind of people you want to attract, and it's going to go and get them, and you won't be doing much else.
When you say closed box system, you mean like Google's going to be the only place to do it?
Yeah, I think Google will be the only place to do it, but you won't have control over many things. You know, it's been this way in Facebook for a while, where your sense of control is largely, you hear people go, oh, we let the algorithm do its magic. Google's going that same path. If you look at the best way to think about it from a Google's perspective, imagine you're a pilot and you're flying from Las Vegas to London, and you've just taken off and you're in the air, and somebody comes in and goes, oh, Mr. Pilot, that dial and that control over there, you don't need that anymore. I'm taking that out. I've got that. And they walk away with one of your control levers. It might be a manual bid strategy. And you go, no, I'll take that. I'll put it in my pocket. You don't need that. 10 minutes later, they come back and go, oh, that speedometer? I've got that for you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take that and I'm going to pull it away. You don't need that stick anymore. I'm going to control it. And they put it in their pocket and they walk away. And by the time you land in London, you're staring out of a window with an empty cockpit around you. That's largely how Google are behaving. They're doing something called Performance Max, which you've probably heard of, which is great for e-com. It's kicking ass in e-com. It sucks oftentimes in lead gen right now, but it will get better. And so what that does, the manual handle turning that has been the sort of workload of a Google Ad Manager for the last 10, 12 years, you adjust bids, you do this, you do that. It's kind of like, you're turning the handles on this machine every day. You stop turning handles. You get to be a creator. You get to choose targeting, interests, audiences, some keywords. And the things that matter, your audience, your ad copy, your creative, your offer, your landing page, all the things really that live outside of Google, but just kind of feed into it. So the people who write the best ads, the people who have the best offer, the best landing pages, the best audience targeting, they're the people who are going to win, not the people who can turn the most handles on the machine going forward. And so what will happen is those agencies that just rely on being, hiring out somebody overseas for the cheapest possible rate to turn handles, it becomes less valuable. Smart people doing smart things, being creative, thinking a good ad copy, understanding the market, that's the people who win. And that's why it's so exciting. As Google Ad Managers, our pay grade just went up if we embrace it.
Yeah, and that's what's coming. Like you said, it's not fully there yet for everything, but it's on its way. I don't think there's any stopping that train at this point.
I mean, you bet against them if you like, but I think you're probably going to lose.
yeah, I would agree. So the bonuses that I'm talking about, whenever you join PPC Ad Lab through our link during this promotion, it ends tomorrow. You pay $97 and you get all the bonuses. Yep. And there's no long-term contracts, anything like that. So I'm going to do something we don't normally do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll the link across the bottom of the screen. So there's offlinesharks.com/ad lab. So you can go there and see all the details, all that stuff. And again, we have just added a new bonus, which is the call with Nick. And let me see if I can, hold on one second. Let me just show you guys this. So when you click that link, I'll just show you what happens here. You'll end up on this page. This is like a summary of what the tool does, a little demo of it. You'll love that. These are all of there's tons of stuff, all the info you need to know on here. And then we've added some bonuses. So one of the bonuses that we added today was this call that Nick did with a client where we used the tool to show them why we weren't winning and how we could move to winning, and we were able to keep them. So you guys are going to love that. Awesome.
Cool. And
so you get bonuses by signing up, and then they're delivered in there. I'm sorry, Rob, what was that?
I said this ticker is super fancy. It's this level of tech excellence I'm not used to.
yeah. And it's easy it's Tom proof. All you have to do is check a box and it just does it. So it's like, it's perfect. It's perfect. So it'll just be added, Jacqueline, to where you download the other bonuses. So we'll make sure that you get taken care of. So I think I think they're processing it and all that stuff. So, because it literally just happened a couple days ago. It's so funny. One of the advantages of actually running an agency when you're doing stuff like this is these things come up, because we actually do PPC. We actually work with clients. It's great.
Well, can I just touch on one of the other bonuses that's in there? Because it came up earlier in the thread here, Tom. It's not a new thing, but I don't think the value of it's understood and appreciated. But Dawn called this out earlier on. I'll just get back to Dawn's comment just to make sure I don't misquote him. Well, so first thing Dawn said is make sure you give Scott a pay rise. You'll be pleased to know, Dawn, I actually gave Scott a pay rise this morning. I literally had to meet him this morning to give him a pay rise. So one of the things that Scott does is every week we run these live coaching calls. And they're training calls as to how to get the best out of PPC Ad Lab to grow your agency. And it covers everything from bringing clients into the tool to getting clients to finding to sales calls. Scott's a salesperson by training. That's his background. But it's in the kind of long-term sales. Scott's background is nurture an account that might take him 2 years to win the account and 3 years of relationship. So he knows how to build relationships with people and not burn those relationships. So on these calls, they are super, super valuable. The feedback we get from them day in, day out is Scott broke it down. Scott gave me the method, brought it to life, showed me how to do it. We implemented live on the call and then went away with stuff. And it's easy to get lost in a sort of, if there's a list of 10 bonuses, there are some calls and so what? But the feedback we get from these every single week Scott did a call on Monday. They're scheduled for an hour. There were so many questions and so much feedback. He stayed on there for over 2 hours, answering questions and helping people get the outcomes that they want. Now, that's all kind of in your $97. I mean, that would normally be a concierge, hand-holding, white glove on board that would cost money. Scott's doing that for free as part of the thing because it's just so valuable and make sure you get the absolute best results. Anything that Scott teaches, anything that Scott shows, we use him like our human lab rat. When we want to prove something works, we go, hey, Scott, we think we can sell this way to the outside world. Go and spend the next month testing and come back when you've got some results. And so there's no theory. Everything Scott says is we've been out there, we've done it, we've proven it, we've tested it. And he's the guy who's done it. So you're speaking to somebody with first-hand experience of going out, doing the prospecting, making the sale, onboarding the client, and doing the things that he's talking about. So it's a level of experience and credibility that you get. If anybody's been there on the call with Scott, by the way, Alan says watch 2 calls already and is great.
And they're recorded and in the
we record them every week. We record them and we timestamp any key points in there. Yeah, somebody here, Facebook user says Scott's training is outstanding. He's really, really good.
Well, and you mentioned the things that you're doing and how you test all that stuff, because one of the other things that we touched on a little bit last week that I think is really great about the tool as well is you're able to generate these reports, and you guys actually just sell the reports as a thing. Like it's one of the products that you can sell in your agency. Even if you're not doing PPC for someone, they're running their own ads, you can sell them these reports that get delivered each. How often do they get delivered?
You deliver them whenever you want. We can set them to schedule weekly, monthly. But here's the thing. I mean, you've got a $97 tool, right? A month. Go out to prospect number 1 and go, hey, how would you like to know what's happening in your market on a month-by-month basis? I'll send you a report at the end of every month. Who the movers and shakers are, what the ad copy are, what the latest trends and changes are. People sell it for $99 or more. For a single client, and the fulfillment is 0. You just leave it running in the background. You set it up once, it will take you approximately 3 minutes if you're slow, and that's it. Wow. So we've done it, and it amazed us on day. To be honest, it amazed us on day 1 that people were willing to, even if they've got agencies in place, even if they've got in-house teams want it because they can't see it. Business owners want it because they just doesn't tell them it. So it gives them that kind of sense as to what that's going on in the market, and even to the point of whether their agency's BSing them or not. It allows them to see firsthand what's going on, who matters, who competes, and how they do it. Those market reports are great. You could just to be able to go out and sell something costs you nothing.
Yeah, we love stuff like that, and especially if you can recoup your investment in the software. Like,
one client.
The
rest of it's gravy, so it's good.
Yeah, I see somebody in the comments. So like if you joined PPC Ad Lab during our promotion here through our link, you'll get all the bonuses that we're talking about. And somebody also wanted to know a little bit about the upgrades, Rob, because I know there was I think a white label thing, right? And I want to say one thing about that first. Before Rob talks about the upgrade things there. We use PPC Ad Lab in our agency, and we do not have the white label. Like we just send them, like we download the reports as PDFs, which are unbranded, or we just open up the tool and show them. Like no one is going to go out and like, there's no risk of a client being like, oh, that's the software tool, let me go do it. Cause they're not going to want to learn anyway. So we don't even worry about it. We just use it as is anyway. But if you do want a white label, that is an option, correct?
Yeah. So let me talk about that because it depends on your use case of PPC Ad Lab. Remember what I said before, it's a Swiss Army knife. So in Tom's world, when you're inside an agency talking to an existing client, showing them reporting information, it doesn't matter if you show them it's on somebody else's domain or somebody else's brand. That said, if you're using it for outreach, one of the things that you can do in PPC Ad Lab is you can embed a link directly to the report that you run for that prospect. Okay, so let's say imagine you run a thing for plumbers in Tampa, and it makes you a list of 60 plumbers in Tampa. You can have an automated email sequence going to all those 60 people. Then in that email, you can embed a link to say, go get your report, and it will take you to a white label version of the PPC Ad Lab screen where each prospect gets a unique link focused on their business. So it's all completely unique to each individual prospect, highly personalized. Now, if you're doing that, it doesn't really make sense that you'd want to send it out on an Ad Lab link because then it looks weird that it's come from you, but it's on an Ad Lab domain. So it makes a lot more sense that it's your domain, subdomain like reports.my.com, your logo, your color scheme, your branding, your phone number, your contact form, put widgets, messenger bots, tracking codes you want. It just makes far more sense that that's the environment that you send them to. particularly in the prospecting world. Similarly, so that's part, I guess that's white label part of it. The other part of the upgrade is SaaS mode, which means if you let clients in, so you've run a job plumbers in Tampa, what you can do is send your clients access to that one job about their business only on your branded environment. So you can say, hey, give a login credentials to Tom Gaddis at hawaiidental.com, and Tom can then log in and he'll see the market report for Hawaii Dental. But he can't see any other clients, he can't see any other data. So that client access means you're giving your clients a SaaS, which is a high sticky thing for them to have, because they've then live monthly reported market data in the industry. So that's what that thing gives. It's going to give you something else in that day's time, but I'm not going to talk about that. There's a huge thing coming. So does that Tom, does that clarify the difference?
Yeah, that does clarify. Yep. Awesome. I saw, what was another, I think I saw another question. Somebody asked when we're going to be closing it. It closes tomorrow night, I believe. And then no more bonuses. Awesome. Anybody have any questions about pay-per-click or what we're doing here, or anything like that? Anybody with any questions? We've got Rob here, so we should take advantage of it. I think, Rob, right?
We should.
I don't know. We'll wait to see if some come in.
It's interesting, actually. I currently consult for a couple of PPC agencies. Not something I intended to do, but I keep getting asked to do it. So I said yeah. And it's amazing the learning you can see from sitting inside some business objectively. And so it's fair to say, questions, I know reasonable about stuff, and I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing that sometimes, that people bring up is when it comes to PPC, what does the competition look like out there for PPC agencies and things like that? And, I know PPC Ad Lab definitely gives you an advantage over those people, especially on the prospecting side, but maybe you can give people some tips on how to kind of get past some of that stuff. Or are there any specific niches, markets that you guys think are better than others to go after?
So a couple of thoughts from me on this one. So when it comes to, let's deal with the niche question first. Personally, I don't particularly care. Now, let me caveat that. Don't go for cheap niches like florists, pizza houses, those kind of places. Places where they don't have enough margin in the transaction to pay your fee, plus their ad spend, don't make any sense. That said, any market that has higher transaction values or high repeat business, that is the kind of business you like to talk to. I mean, often for me, it's as much about a personality fit as possible. We at Invisible, we had a ton of lawyer clients. I wouldn't deal with them because I don't like talking to lawyers. They make me uncomfortable. It's just not a conversation that I enjoy, so I would never do it. If it was a blue collar business, much more enjoyable conversation for me. So for me, providing the transaction values are there, I'm about personalities. I'm about people I like to talk to, people I want to have a conversation with. And so for me, I would go there. And the other thing to say is, this isn't for life. Choose one, try it. Put it on like a pair of trousers. If you like it, stay with them. If you don't, get changed.
Yeah, we always feel like what niche we choose is like life or death. Like once I pick it, I'm going to be stuck with it forever. But that's just not the case.
Exactly. I mean, that said, don't go hopping around every 5 minutes and jumping. Give it a fair try. But you can always add on. You can always change. So I think that's an interesting thing. But when it comes to the PPC itself, for me, things that really matter are, where can we get results? Where can we make an impact? I love dealing with existing advertisers rather than brand new accounts. And there's a really simple reason for that is night and day. You get contrast. You get a before and after. It's really easy to make an impact. And the way that, and so what that means is when we're prospecting, we're often prospecting to people, some of whom will have an agency in place already. So don't go and try and replace the agency. Go and sell them a market report. Go and give them a market report as a data provider. Go, hey, here's your report. We've got a thing we call it a benchmark report, which is run a PPC ad lab job to analyze all the dentists in Florida, for example. Look at the advertisers, send them that report. Go, hey, I've just produced a report of all the top 100 dental advertisers in Florida. Would you like, you're on the list, by the way, would you like a copy? I'm like, sure, great. Would you give us your feedback on the report and what you think about it?
So you're actually selling that to the agency?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So make their PPC agency your client. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we've also done it with direct with the client. Here's the thing with the clients, we've done it. We've gone, hey, Mr. Client, you're in the top 20. You're featured in this report of the top 25 in the area. We'd love to get your comments on it, please, so we can publish them alongside it. A, they take the call, and now B, you've got a hot prospect on the phone talking to you as an authority.
Oh, man, that is
you've never once had to go head to head with them as an agency. Your foot's already well in the door, through the door, and you're sat in the chair having a cup of coffee.
That's great. That's almost, so I used to do a thing where I would tell the people that signed up for my direct mail services that if anybody calls them about digital marketing, to just tell them that I ran their digital marketing and forward them to me. And then I would take down all the information. And if it was good or bad, because I know all that stuff, I would pass it on to them. So like I had people sending, anybody that prospected them would come to me, and then I could direct them. I love that strategy. There you have, there is the same thing. That's great.
It just works awesome. Really, really well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go through some of these questions that people popped in here. So JT, yes, if you're already in PPC Ad Lab, you will get Nick's call as a bonus. So we'll send information out on how to access that, I'm sure, but you will get it. And then I'm not sure who asked this question. I don't see their name, but it said they believe there's an AI software is included as a bonus if you get PPC. Is that right? I don't.
There is no AI software bonus.
I didn't think that. Let's see. Jacqueline wanted to know, what markets do you go for in the UK?
Personally, I don't own an agency anymore. In the past, we've run lots of spas, lots of healthcare, sort of private healthcare equipment, double glazing, run a ton of windows, tons and tons of. I love running window campaigns in the UK, Jacqueline. So they're one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sandy wanted to know, so like if you take out the short codes for the info, can you use it just to send emails for other services?
Sandy, thank you so much. It's one of my biggest regrets with PPC Ad Lab was calling it PPC Ad Lab, because it has an implied assumption that it's only useful for PPC, which is what I had built. I intended that when I built it. But what we've since discovered is, hey, if somebody is an advertiser, what does that tell you about an advertiser? It means they need to convert a client. So to convert, what do they need? They need a high converting website or landing pages. If they don't have them, sell them those. They may need chatbots, sell them those. They may need call tracking, sell them that. They may need follow-up sequences, sell them that. They may need sales training, sell them that. They may be getting bad PPC results, so sell them SEO, sell them Facebook. Treat the fact they are advertising as a marker of intent, not the service you have to sell. That's the best way I can describe it. From them,
yeah, I mean, we preach that all the time.
We're in the game.
Yeah, we preach that all the time. That's awesome.
Yeah, I would say 70+% of our users do not sell PPC. They sell other services and use it as an identifier.
Yeah. And say this person asked about the upgrades and more credits. So I want to say something about the credits, because we got a lot of questions about this on the webinar and we talked about it. So number one, the plan that you get for $97 a month, Rob and Joe added even more credits to that plan than you would normally get. You have so many credits that you would have to do an insane amount of stuff to use them all up. If you are running that much stuff, you would be making so much money that the amount of what it costs to upgrade to more credits wouldn't even matter to you. So like, don't worry about the credits. You get plenty. But Rob, if somebody does, and they roll over, so if you don't use them all in 1 month, they roll over to the next month. But Rob, if somebody wants more credits, maybe they have a huge agency, whatever, how does that work for them?
So we have bundles of credits available inside the app. I think, and they're about, I don't know. I don't know.
A true owner of a company right there. I love when people ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like about $100 for about 15,000, something like that. So
gotcha. But you have plenty. You have like, I think it's 10,000 credits they get, right? Like it's a crazy amount that they get right out of the gate. So yeah. JT said, and I saw somebody else asked about, so do we need a white label or do we don't? And again, it depends on what you're using it for. Like if you want to, maybe if you're going to sell the reports and those types of things, you'll probably want to pick up a white label just so you can have unbranded links and things to send to people. But it really depends on your use case, right? It really depends on your use case.
Yeah, exactly.
I love people that sell software and then they always tell you need everything. It's like, we're not really that way. Like if you're going to use it, get it. Because I think the upgrade, if you upgrade to the white label, instead of $97 a month, it's $197 a month.
It's $197. Right? It's $397 on our website. It's $197 here. So it's
So I mean, like it's a smoking deal for what you get. And again, you could always sell a couple of reports and make that money back pretty quick. But yeah, and so it's not, just to be clear, it's not 97 plus 197. It's just 197.
Total 197. Yeah. And including in that, by the way, you get your credits more than double as well. so you get the white label, you get SaaS mode to let clients in, and you get more than double your credits. So it's a pretty value stacked thing.
Yeah, that's great. So Elaine wanted to know, so do you is it the same report that goes to every business, or do you send it to one and see if they purchase it and do them individual?
So you can do it either way. We provide it in two formats, and it's up to you really what suits you best. We provide a general one, and we provide an individual business specific one. One strategy we've seen lots of people use effectively is send the general one first for the market as a tease, and then say, would you like a personalized individual one for your business? That's $99 a month, and we'll send it every month for you. So that's often how people do it. Send the general first as a freebie, tease them into the personalized one as the thing. The good news from your point of view is there is literally zero work. Once you're running the job, it produces both automatically at the same time and will deliver the right one. You do nothing. It's that simple.
That's great. Michael said green label would make more cash. That's awesome. So if you need to buy more credits, you buy them in bundles. So there's not a grandfathered in price. You just buy more bundles. But again, you have so many credits. I'd be surprised if you use them all.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me see what this question is. Hold on. I'm trying to look down to see before I go back to one of the bonuses is a Rolodex of PPC outsourcers that Rob and Joe recommend.
Can I talk about that bonus a little bit, Tom? Because I think it's quite an interesting thing. So that came out of a call when we did the webinar. People were slightly concerned who wanted to offer PPC. If you wanted to offer PPC, some people were concerned about fulfillment. So on the spot on the webinar, we came up with something. So what we're doing is actually two things. In fact, we're doing a lot more than we said. So thing number one, Nick is doing a video on how he hires and trains in-house. So he's showing how he recruits in-house, how he vets, how he trains, and that process. We're showing A, our Rolodex of trusted white label providers, B, how to vet them to see if they're right for you, and C, how to decide when it's right to use an in-house or a white label. And so you can look at what the right time is to make a choice for you that's good. And we'll break all that down, pros and cons of each, so that if you want to use a white label or you want to bring in-house for PPC, you've got absolutely everything you need to know to either hire and train or outsource, and you'll get all our recommendations.
Yeah, gotcha. And actually, in this deal with the $97 a month, you get 33% more credits in that plan than you normally would.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we know there's so many credits you can use. So I know you mentioned earlier that a lot of people sell the reports for $99. Do you have or do people sell them more for that, or is that pretty much the going rate for what they do?
I'll tell you one thing I do. We have a client that we sell them those reports for $2,900 a month.
Ooh.
Yeah, literally.
That's not a bad price tag.
So let me tell you what we've done. We have a client who's a franchise. They have multiple locations. They want one report per month per location.
So one report per month per location, 2,000. Wow.
Each report's only $29. Go figure. They've got 100 locations. So they get that. But think for the value for that location, $29 is an absolute steal. They just happen to have 100 of them. So price is pretty elastic.
Well, and you can send a monthly report is the best way to go, but you can send it weekly if somebody wants.
Yeah, weekly, monthly. Here's the thing. The world of Google Ads, as we all know, is not a static thing. It changes with the weather, with the seasons, with the days of the week. New advertisers come in, advertisers go, offers change. Page layouts in Google change. And that's one thing we track is page layouts in Google. We know what's on the page, not just whether it's ads, whether there's other things on the page or not. So unless your client is happy to accept the state of the market on September the 1st, 2022, and never worry about it changing again, they need a report. But I'll bet come October the 1st and November the 1st, the world will be slightly different.
Yeah. And the landscape of where they're advertising will be different too.
Exactly. If not, it's like buying a daily newspaper. Just buy one and don't bother with it done again because you bought the news.
Yeah. If people come in are they able to upgrade later, or do they have to decide right when they purchase?
No, you can upgrade later, but only during the promotion. It's literally a Sharks only promotion price.
Okay, and I get it. If you guys saw the behind the scenes of this software, it's this really is an amazing deal. Just so you know, you can't. And I'm not saying that just to hype it up. Like, this is an enterprise level software that's out in the major market. This isn't just some developers from JV Zoo, right? Like, this is the real deal. So it really is a really great deal.
We're literally right now, Tom, going through quality assurance with a listed top 100 company who are using it internally in their marketing team for marketing strategy for their business.
Yeah. So I don't know who this is, but what makes a report a recurring service is that you provide the report every month and they pay you every month for the report.
Exactly that. It's really simple.
Yep. And we're going to be wrapping up soon. If you haven't yet, you can go to offlinesharks.com/ad-lab. You can see a recap of the training, the software demo, all the bonuses, everything there. You can jump in, you can join for this special price. And then the offer closes tomorrow evening. So this really is a great deal. There's no long-term commitments, anything like that. And you get all the bonuses as well. There's a lot of bonuses. I mean, Rob and Joe had a bunch. We're doing some special things we're adding, plus the new bonus we added today. So tons of stuff in there. Let me see.
Oh, can I just comment on something, actually, that Doug's commented on, one of the bonuses? If you can see it, Tom, you might see a comment from Doug Page. If you can highlight that one, because I think it's really important.
Doug Page. Is it down towards the...
It says, love the list of top converting.
Oh, yep, there you go.
Converting. So, one of the bonuses, I want people to understand the power of this. We mentioned earlier on that we have another big data PPC tool. It isn't this tool. It's not a bonus. It's a separate thing. One of the things it does is it does big data analysis of niches. And so, as a part of a bonus, one of the things we've done is we've put in a list of 32 niches, and we've given you 10 keywords that we've proved convert, 10 that we've proved have never converted for any single account we've seen in our database for that industry. So What does that mean? It means we run a job on PPC Ad Lab with those terms in it and go, hey, we see you're spending money on these keywords. By the way, we've got proof that not one of these has ever converted for any dentist. You might want to think about your ad strategy. Can we help you? That simple piece of information, which bear in mind, their agency hasn't told them this. Their agency can't see this. The in-house team can't see this. I'll give you an example. In the dental industry, look, what was I looking at? Plumbing, I was looking at today. 513 campaigns worth of data have made the data set that says, here's a list of search terms that have never converted over the last year and a half for any account in there. I think we can be quite confident in that data. So it's kind of, you can't buy that anywhere.
And that's powerful stuff. Look at this. JT closed his week on a high with a $14K a month PPC ad spend and $1,500 setup and $2,500 management account. Just closed it an hour ago. JT, congratulations, my friend.
Buddy. Awesome.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Awesome. Well, look, I know we went a little over. One thing I do need to do, we do have some winners for our shout out post. Every week we make that post. If you go there, say good job, congratulate the winners. We give you some Cash App money. So our winners this week for, I have to do this, Rob. I'm sorry. Hold on. I have to do this or people will get mad before I announce the winners. Here we go.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Dollar. Ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
Couldn't leave out the money song. So our winners this week are Jacqueline Heath and Michael Howard. Congratulations, 2 longtime Sharks. We got somebody from our team will reach out, or you can throw your Cash App tag in this stream here, and we will get your Cash App money sent to you. Rob, I really appreciate you hanging out with me on a Friday night, and the rest of the Sharks. Really, really great.
I had fun.
Awesome stuff. This will be in the Facebook group if you want to watch it again. Again, go to offlinesharks.com/ad-lab to jump on this amazing deal. Again, it closes tomorrow night, so make sure you go check it out. And if you're doing PPC or plan to do PPC, this is something you want to get in on. Grab all the bonuses, get this amazing software. And if you have questions, let us know. All right. Well, that's it. You guys stay safe out there. Practice Aloha. Rob, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks again.
Thanks, guys. And Tom and everybody who's been here and put up with me for this last hour. I appreciate all of you and your time and awesome questions. I've had great fun.
Yeah, it was great stuff. All right, I'm going to cue the outro, and we'll see you here. Well, I won't be here next Friday. Nick will be running solo because I'm going to be in Greenwich, Connecticut at Brian Kurtz's Titans Mastermind event. But Nick will be here with you. We'll see you next week. Stay safe. Practice Aloha, everybody.
See you guys.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam Session, your weekly marketing live show, always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with the Remote Millionaires podcast at remotemmillionaires.com/podcast and Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.